Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's a recording given of a class by Srila Prabhupada, given by him in December 24th, 1973 in Los Angeles, California. So we ask that you kick up the volume of your listening devices. Sometimes the recording is a little low. Here, without further ado, we'll start the class. Hare Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Do you want me to read that?
No, that's all right. That will be reference.
Te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā jñātvātyantikam ātmanaḥ manasā dhārayām āsur vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā jñātvātyantikam manasā dhārayām āsur vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā jñātvātyantikam manasā dhārayām āsur vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā jñātvātyantikam manasā dhārayām āsur vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam all of them, sādhu-kṛta, having performed everything worthy of a saint, sarvārthā, that which includes everything worthy, jñātvā, knowing it well, ātyantikam, the ultimate, ātmanaḥ, of the living being, manasā, within the mind, dhārayām, sustained, vaikuṇṭha, the Lord of the spiritual sky, caraṇāmbujam, lotus feet. Translation: they all had performed all the principles of religion, and as a result rightly decided that the lotus feet of the Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa are the supreme goal of all. Therefore they meditated upon his feet without interruption.
Te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā. Artha means interest. Everyone has some interest. The animal has got also interest. The man has got also interest. A big politician, he has also interest. Everyone has got interest. But nobody knows what is real interest. That is missing. Everyone has created his interest and is working on that field. Nati vidu sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā hi Vishnu. Real interest is for the human being to know what is God, what is my relationship with Him, and how I shall achieve the highest perfection of life. That is real interest. Nati vidu sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā Vishnu. Sārtha, Sārtha or Artha. Sārtha means own interest and Artha means general interest. The general interest is for the human being dharma, artha, kam, moksha. Because human life is not dog's life, cat's life. So there must be dharma, religion. And religion means no God. That is first interest. This is first interest. Otherwise, how shall I distinguish my life with cats and dogs' life? They are also eating, sleeping, mating, and dying. And if I also, like the cats and dogs, eat, sleep, and have sex life and die, then where is the difference? The difference is religion. There, in the dog society, cat society, there cannot be any religion. But in the human society, there is necessity of religion. Otherwise, it is cats and dogs society. They do not understand it. They are avoiding religion. Nowadays, the so-called advanced civilization, they are avoiding religion. That means they are coming to the platform of cats and dogs, and actually they have come. Especially in this age, Kali Yuga. Yesterday we were discussing about the Kali Yuga, the most fallen age. People are most degraded. So there is, by calculation, that 75% irreligion and 25% religion in comparison to other ages. But this 25% religious life also will reduce. Before explaining this verse, I shall give you reference to some of these symptoms of this age. This is also explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th canto, 3rd chapter. What is that? Give me that book. We have not yet published, as I am reading reference. Anannato Rajabhischa Chang Jasyan Ripiri. It is described in the 2nd chapter, 12th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Tatascha anudinang dharma satyam saucham chamadaya kalena bulina rajan nakhati ayur balam smriti. This description of the Kali Yuga is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is called Shastra. This Srimad Bhagavatam was written 5,000 years ago, when the Kali Yuga was to begin. Now, what will happen in future, everything is given there. Shastra means, that is, therefore we accept Shastra. Trikalagya. The Shastrakar or the compiler of the Shastra must be a liberated person so that he can describe past, present and future. In the Srimad Bhagavatam you will find so many things which was told to be happening in future. Just like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is mention of Lord Buddha's appearance. Similarly, there is mention of Lord Kalki's appearance. There is mention of Lord Chaitanya's appearance. Although it was written 5,000 years ago. Trikalagya. They know what is past, present and future. So about the Kali Yuga, discussing, Sukadeva Goswami is describing the chief symptoms of this age. The first symptom, he says, tatascha anudinam. With the progress of this age, Kali Yuga, dharma, religious principle, sattam, truthfulness, saucham, cleanliness, kshama, forgiveness, daya, mercifulness, ayur, duration of life, balam, bodily strength, smriti, memory. Just count how many. Dharma, sattang, saucham, kshama, daya. Ayur, balam, smriti. 8. These things will gradually reduce to nil, almost nil. Now, as I told you, the Kali Yuga, there are other yugas, just like Satya Yuga. The duration of Satya Yuga was 1800,000 of years. And the human being was living in that age for 100,000 of years. 100,000 of years. The next age, the duration of that age, 1,200,000 of years, and the people used to live for 1,000 years. Not 1,000, 10,000 years. 10 times reduced. The next stage, the Upper Yuga, again 10 times reduced. Still they used to live for 1,000 years. And the duration of the age was 800,000 of years. Now the next stage, this Kali Yuga, the limit is 100 years. We can live at most up to 100 years. We are not living 100 years, but still the limit is 100 years. So let's see, now from 100 years, in India the average age is about 35 years. In your country they say 70 years. So it is reducing. And it will so reduce that if a man lives for 20 to 30 years, he will be considered grand old man in this age, Kali Yuga. So ayu, duration of life, will reduce. Memory, smriti, that will also reduce. We see nowadays people are not very of short memory. They forget. Daily work they forget. doing something daily, still he is forgetting. The loss of memory. Similarly, Ayu, bodily strength, everyone can understand. Your forefathers, your father or grandfather, as their bodily strength, you are not so, I am not so. So bodily strength will reduce. Memory will reduce. Duration of life will reduce. Then dharma, there is no question. It is almost reduced. Nobody is interested in religion. The churches, temples had been closed, locked up. This was a church. Where we are sitting, this was a church. And it was sold. Because nobody was coming. Similarly, we are purchasing in Australia a very big church. They are selling. In London I have seen many hundreds of churches. Nobody is going there. Not only churches, in India also. Except a few important temples, ordinary small temples they have been closed. They have become habitation of the dogs. So dharma, religiosity is reducing. And truthfulness and kṣama, forgiveness, that is also reduced. We are very sorry that one thing has happened. He was excused, but again he was shot dead. You see. No forgiveness, vengeance. Formally, if somebody has done something wrong, the other party, just like Arjuna, you see, even in the battlefield, you are so much tortured by the other party. Still you ask, Krishna, let them go. I don't want to kill them. Forgiveness. So, even for small interest, they will kill. This is going on. So, sattam, saucham, kṣama, daya, mercifulness. Even if you see in your front somebody is being killed, you will not take interest. No mercifulness. It is happening already. So, sattam, saucham, kṣama, daya, ayu, duration of life, bodily strength and memory. These 8 kinds of things will reduce. When you will see these symptoms, you will find now the age of Kali is making his progress very nicely. This is progress. Then another symptom is vittameva kalo ninang janmachara gunodaya. Formally, according to spiritual understanding, one man's position was calculated. Just like Brahmana. Brahmana was honored because he knew Brahma. He was aware of the Supreme Spirit. So now, in Kali Yuga, actually, there is no Brahmana. That will be also described, how a Brahman is. The janma achara, a birthright was there. But according to the behavior, if a man is born in a Brahmin family or Kshatriya family, he must behave like that. That was the king's duty, to see that this man is not falsely representing himself. Just like in England, there is Lord family. So, to maintain their aristocracy, the family had to deposit some money with the government so that they may not deteriorate in their aristocratic behavior. Still it is going on. But now things are finished. So aristocracy and respectability, these things were according to culture, according to education. But nowadays, what is that? Vittameva kolonina. If you get money somehow or other, then everything is there. You may be a 3rd class, 4th class, 10th class man, but if you get money somehow or other, then you are very respectable. There is no question of your culture or aristocracy or education or knowledge. There is nothing. This is Kali Yuga. And then dharmanyaya avasthaya karanam balamevahi. And if you have got some influence, strength, then in your favor everything will be decided. You are the most irreligious person, but if you can bribe the priestly order, he will certify, yes, you are religious. So money, not actual qualification. So if you discuss these things, the long affair, shortly, and then again it says, Dampatya abhirichihi hetu naiva mayaiva vyavaharike. Dampatya, husband and wife relation, will depend on abhiruchi. Abhiruchi means liking. A girl likes a boy, and a boy likes that. That's all right. Now let the marriage take place. They do not see what will be the future of this girl and the boy. Never. Therefore, everyone is unhappy. 6 months after marriage, divorce. Because the marriage took place simply on superficial liking, no deep understanding. So things are taking place like that. Formerly, marriage, at least in India, at least up to our time, the marriage was taking place not on the liking of the boy and the girl, no. It was decided by the parents. Just like I was also a married man. I was married when I was a student. And I did not know what will be this. But the parents arranged. What to speak of me, I'll give you another very brilliant example that you have perhaps heard the name of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. He was the first president of India. He has written his biography. He was married at the age of 8 years. Formerly in India the marriage was taking place like that. I know my father-in-law was married when he was 11 years and my mother-in-law was 7 years. You see? So actually the point is that the marriage was taken by the calculation of past, present and future with astronomy, astrological calculation, whether this couple will be happy in their life. In this way marriage was taking place. Not that a grown-up girl, grown-up boy mixes together and he likes, she likes, then again he left or he's... This kind of marriage was not concerned. But in this Kali Yuga, it is said that Dampatya abhiruchi. That's all, abhiruchi. Boys or girls are intermingling freely, and if she likes, that's all right. But no future calculation. This is Kali Yuga. No future calculation. Whether in future marriage is sanctified life, the man is a woman, live peacefully, make spiritual culture. Each one will help the other so that they will live very happily and become advancement in spiritual life and then go back. So that is the system. But nowadays, in Kali Yuga, it will be simply liking. Liking means next moment disliking. That is a fact. You see, liking has no value. As soon as you based on liking, then you expect next moment disliking. That's all. And strikte pumste chahi roti vipratte sutramevai. You know, the Brahmin, they are offered sacred thread. So, people will consider, now I have got sacred thread, I have become Brahmin. I may act like a chandal, it doesn't matter. That is going on. We introduced this Brahminical culture, but things are deteriorating. I am very sorry that taking Brahminical initiation, he is acting as a chandal, angry chandal. You see? So, this is Kali Yuga. He does not understand that as Brahmin, he has got sole responsibility. But because he has got the 2 cent worth sacred thread, he thinks now he has become Brahmin. Viprate. And sitte punstachya hi rati me bohi. And husband and wife, they will remain together because it was liking. And as soon as there will be sex difficulty, they will dislike. Immediately. Lingameva asramakhyata. Lingameva. A dress, simply. Taking white dress, he is grihastha. He may do like anything. He is grihastha. No. There are so many duties. Taking a saffron cloth, he is sannyasi. These are the, if you explain it, it will take one, but these are the same terms. Abritya nayadudballam panditte chapalabbachaha. If you have no money, then you will never get justice in the court. This is Kali Yuga. Nowadays, the High Court judges, they are also taking bribe to give you a favorable judgment. You can purchase judgment. So if you have no money, then don't go to court to push good money after bad money. No. Abritya nayadudbal panditte chapalangavacha. If a man can talk expertly, it doesn't matter what he talks. Nobody requires to understand it. Then he is Pandit. He is learned scholar. Haparpulaslena, Bhagavad, Dogvendikulali, gondolized by the electricism of wine. Like if you go on speaking, nobody will understand. Nobody will understand, and people, see how learned he is. Actually, it is happening. There are so many rascals, they are writing books, and such and such, what you have understood? It is inexplicable. Inexplicable. It is going on. Anadhai vasadhutte sadhutte dhamma evatu shikaram eva udvahe snanam eva prasadanam. Anadhai, if you are poor man, then you are dishonest. People understand that this man is actually not honest because he does not know how to earn money by hook and crook. Shikaramaya udvaya. And marriage will take place by agreement. And that is very much experience in your country, in our country also. Now government has appointed marriage magistrate. So any boy and girl likes, simply go to him. Maybe there is some fee. Yes, we agree to marry and certify they are married. No. Not like that, formally as the father and mother used to select and see the future. Shikaram eva chadvaya. Shikaram means agreement. Snanam eva prasadhanam. Snanam eva prasadhanam. Cosmetic. Simply, if one can take little shower bath, then everything is finished. Actually, snana means sandha, you have to take bath nicely, then you have to put tilak and chandan, then perform your Gayatri mantra. This is called snan, trisandha snan. Not that simply taking some other bath and finish. No. But Kali Yuga, this will be snanam eva. And then, dure vajjanam tirtham lavannam kesadharanam. Just see how future tell. At the present moment, Kali Yuga, a man will think himself he has become very beautiful by keeping long hairs. You have got very good experience in your country. Long hairs. Just see how future. Who knew that there are people who will be interested for keeping long hairs? But that is stated in the Bhagavad. You see? Kesha dharan. Kesha means hair. And dharanam means keeping. Dure vajjanam tirtham. And pilgrimage, it must be far away. Just like in Calcutta, there is Ganges. So nobody cares for Calcutta Ganges. But they will go to Haridwar. The same Ganges. The Ganges is coming from Haridwar down to the Bay of Bengal. But people will like to go to Haridwar, taking so much hardship to take bath there, because that becomes tirtha. Every religion they have got tirtha. The Muslim they have got mosque. What is that? Makkah, Medina. The Christians they have got where? Jerusalem. Yes. Similarly, the Hindus they must travel very long. That will be tirtha. But actually tirtha means tirthi kurbanti tirthani. Where there is saintly person, that is tirtha. Not to go 10,000 miles and simply take a dip in the water and come back. Then, udaram bharata sārtha sattasti dhātamishtavi dākham kudumba bharanam jasarthi dharma sevanam. Udaram bharata. The interest, I was speaking of interest. Now in Kali Yuga, the interest will be if you can eat someday very sumptuously, then your all interest is fulfilled. That's all. Many people will be so hungry, so nothing to eat. Therefore, if they can eat someday very sumptuously, that will be fulfillment of all interest. And sattati dhastame bhavi. And one who will simply play jugglery of words, he will be considered as very truthful. Another, dakham kutumba bharanam. one shall be considered very expert if he can maintain his family, wife and children. That means this will be difficult. It has already become difficult. To maintain a wife and a few children, that is also a great burden at the same time. Therefore nobody wants to marry. Evam prajabhi dustabhi akinne kiti mandale. In this way, when all we people will be infected by the poison of Kali-yuga, vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam jo boli bhavita nipa. See, it doesn't matter whether he is a Brahman or a Kshatriya or a Vaishya or Shudra or Chandal. One who is powerful in getting votes, he will occupy the presidential post or the royal post. Let's see. Formerly, the system was that not the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Shudra can occupy the royal throne. Only the Kshatriya, see. Now, in the Kali-yuga, there is no such thing who is Kshatriya, who is a Brahman, anyone who can cook, you get your votes, democracy, and occupy, and whatever you may be rascal number one, but you will be posted on the supreme exalted presidential post. Then, prajahi lubthai rajannai, naidhannai dasudharmabhi, achinna dharudravina, jasanti girikananam. Now, these classes of men who goes to the government post by vote, mostly their qualification is lubdha rajanna, greedy government man. Nirghinai dosudharma, their business is plundering. Their business is plundering. We actually see that every year they are exacting heavy tax, and whatever money is received, they divide among themselves, and the citizens' condition remains the same. In every government we can see like that. Praja dasudharmapi. In this way, gradually all people will be so much harassed, achinna dharudravina, that they will like to give up their family life. Achinna. Dhara means wife, and dravina means money. Achinna dharudravina. Jasanti girikananam. They will go in the forest. These symptoms are also there. So in this way there are so many symptoms. It will take a long time to describe. This is Kali-yuga, but there is remedy. There is remedy. Kalau dosanidhi rajan, the faults of this age, just like ocean. Just like in the ocean you cannot, Pacific Ocean, if you are put into the Pacific Ocean, you do not know how your life will be saved. It is very difficult. Even if you are very expert swimmer, so it is not possible that you can cross the Pacific Ocean. That is not possible. Similarly, the Kali-yuga, as it is stated in the Bhagavad, that infected with so many anomalies, that there is no way out. But there is one medicinally. Kirtanādeva Krishnasya mukta sangha parambraje. That is also described. That if you chant Hare Krishna mantra, Kirtanādeva Krishnasya, especially the name Krishnasya, mukta sangha, you will be relieved from the infection of this Kali-yuga. The 5 Pandavas, they sadhu, they have been described as sadhu, very honest, saintly, sadhu. Kṛta-sarvārthā, they have executed all their duties. The human being has got duty. There are so many duties. Devarsi bhutaptu ninang pitrinam. Devarsi. We have got duties. We are rini means indebted. Whom we are indebted? As soon as you take your birth on this planet, you are indebted to so many persons. What are they? The first, Deva. Deva means the demigods or God. Actually, God has got many assistant demigods. So you are indebted, just like you are getting the sunshine, just like we are getting this electricity. Now the bill will be presented. If you don't pay, the next day your electricity will be cut off. So by nature's or God's arrangement, there is sunshine. Therefore you have to perform yajna. If you don't perform yajna, then there will be no sunshine. Therefore in the Western countries there is very difficulty to get sunshine. This is the natural sequence. So we are indebted to the sun god, we are indebted to the Indra who is supplying water, just like you have got electricity department, water department, this department, so many departments. Similarly, so big kingdom of God is going on. There are also different departments. The rascals, they do not know. I am getting. Just like a child does not know how this electricity is coming. He thinks it is coming automatically. Why automatically? Is it coming automatically? You have to pay for it. There is powerhouse, there is connection, so many things, but he does not know. Similarly, all the rascals, they will say, oh, sunshine is by nature automatically, moonshine automatically, this is automatically. What do you mean by automatically? What thing happens automatically? Unless there is arrangement. And because there is so nice, good arrangement, it is to be understood there is good government. And as soon as you accept this, you must have to accept necessity of God, without which arrangement cannot be done. So we are indebted to God. So just like if you don't pay taxes to the government does not become poor, but your supply will be stopped. You will suffer. Similarly, if you don't accept there is supreme government, the supreme governor, the governor is quite sufficient. God is completely munificent or rich. He will not suffer, but he will suffer. Therefore, it is said, te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā. Just like if you remain clean, paying all your taxes, then you are very honest citizens. Similarly, if you become obedient to God and His government, then you are sadhu. Otherwise you are dishonest. That is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, sādhureva samantavva, apiche sudurāchara bhajate māṁ, anannabhāv. One who is very much obedient to the laws of God, he is sadhu. Not that changing dress one becomes sadhu. So te sādhu-kṛta-sarvārthā, they have executed all duties. Kṛta-sarvārthā, jñātvātyantikam ātmanaḥ. We are hankering after happiness, temporary. but we do not know what is ultimate happiness. So they knew what is the ultimate happiness, ātmantikam. Sukham ātmantikam jattat atindriya grāhyam, Bhagavad Gita. Ātmantikam, the ultimate happiness is not perceived by these gross material senses. The ultimate happiness is appreciated, understood by transcendental senses. The same senses means now the senses are covered by material infection. So when you purify this material infection, then your senses become pure. And in that pure senses, you can enjoy what is real happiness. Therefore it is said, ātmantikam ātmanaḥ, manasā dhārayām āsur. So they knew what is the ātmantikam dhārayām, vaikuṇṭha. Vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam. Vaikuṇṭha. Vaikuṇṭha means vigata kuṇṭha. Kuṇṭha means anxiety. And God's another name is vaikuṇṭha. If you take shelter of the lotus feet of God, Krishna, then you become without anxieties. This is the only. Everyone is full of anxiety. Even a bird, even a beast, even a small ant. What to speak of our position? The material world is such, we must be full of anxieties. That is explained also. Asad-grihat, because we have accepted something flickering as shelter. If you accept something which is not permanent, which is tilting, in a boat suppose, which is tilting, at any moment will be drowned. So you cannot be free from anxiety. But if you accept a strong, very big ship, you are assured that I will not be drowned. Similarly, we are accepting this shelter, that shelter, that shelter, that shelter, avoiding the shelter of God. Therefore, we are full of anxiety. If you want to become free from anxiety, then here is the prescription, vaikuṇṭha-caraṇāmbujam. Take shelters of the lotus feet of Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful lecture. This is a fairly long one, 47 minutes, longer than the other ones that we've heard. So many things that Srila Prabhupada used to describe the situation in Kali Yuga. Listing quite a few things that are positive that are now going down. This is going down almost to nil in Kali Yuga. And then it took each one of them and broke it down by giving examples. And Srila Prabhupada so masterfully explains things. Again, he ends with how we can be free from anxiety. So, dear devotees, this is the time to unmute yourself. If you have comments, questions, realizations that you want to share, this is the time to do so. So, unmute yourself. And so, anyone to start off? I'm wondering if we can start us off. Please accept our humble obeisances of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa with some realizations.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Accept our humble obeisances of Lord Śrī
Kṛṣṇa. Thank you. It would be interesting to hear devotees' observations about the different symptoms of Kali Yuga, if devotees have some feedback or observations about that in terms of what Srila Prabhupada was saying. You know, certain ones stuck out, were prominent to me. You know, the idea of you can't get justice without having money. That's a big one nowadays. You know, they have something called public defenders for people who don't have money for a lawyer. But even the public defenders, the public defenders, as most people know, they'll encourage. They have so many cases; they're overworked, and they'll try to encourage the people, even if the person is innocent, to take a plea deal and just, so to speak, make it easy. It's very difficult to get justice without money. Then Srila Prabhupada talked about how the Shastra is predicting the future, because it was written, the Srimad Bhagavatam was written 5,000 years ago.
Yes.
And he mentioned Lord Buddha, Lord Chaitanya, and Kalki. Another verse that I, in my sense, although Srila Prabhupada never said this, or none of the Acharyas said that, but I think there's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that predicts Srila Prabhupada's appearance and activities. It goes like this.
Okay.
Kirata Punandra Pulinda Pulkasha Abira Shumba Yavana Kasadaya Yenye Chapapa Tadupashraya Shraya Shudyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Nama. That's a listing of people from all different sections of the world and how they can become purified by taking shelter of someone who's taken shelter of Krishna. Shudyanti Tasmai Prabhavishnave Nama. And where do you find that occurring, in the person's lifetime? And I know that, Lord Jesus Christ was there in the Middle East, but he didn't travel outside the Middle East. Subsequently, his followers went all over, but not during his lifetime. And similarly, Muhammad, Hazrat Muhammad, his people traveled everywhere, but he didn't. But Srila Prabhupada, in his lifetime, he delivered people from all over the different sections of the world that were mentioned in that verse. Kirata, Huns means Germans, Abhiras, Shumba, Yavanas, Turks, Greeks, Chinese, hunters, all kinds of people. So anyway, that's another thing that I thought is very interesting here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Yes, those were points I also definitely came out strongly to me. Devotees, any other points that you'd like to even ask a question about? I find it quite interesting, Mr. Grafbu, when you made the analysis and you first said that that Srila Prabhupada is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, it's not directly, but then you quoted the text about all the different tribes and different people, nationalities, and their sinful activities and that the sinful activities can be changed if they take shelter of one who has actually taken shelter of God. And of course, we know Srila Prabhupada he's a godly person from the spiritual world, so he's full-time, all the time connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So to take shelter of him, that is what the text is actually talking about, that whoever is, people who are sinful, Papa, they can be changed. Their thinking and their lifestyle can be changed to a pure one just by taking shelter of a devotee of the Lord, a pure devotee of the Lord. This is what's happened. And then you mentioned about Srila Prabhupada having traveled all around the world, where the other saintly personalities didn't go that far from where they were born, except that when sometimes I hear that, although I know it's true, but another part of my mind keeps saying, well, that's sometimes the arrangement by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some people will stay a certain area, and then others too will be given the whole the world, to travel and preach. So Srila Prabhupada's mission was very, very, very important. The Lord Chaitanya approved that he do that, where he himself traveled only in India. So that's I see it as, not to go against you necessarily, but I see it as the will of the Lord, But still, fact is fact, though. Srila Prabhupada traveled around the whole world, from my understanding, 12 times at least, and preached the Krishna consciousness. And because of him, now the world knows about Krishna, where it was only India that knew for a while. So, yeah, I appreciate very much your comments. But my mind rings like that, too, that the will of the Lord also plays a big role in how things get dispersed in terms of services to the Lord. Anyway, it's just me rambling on and on and on and on. There are other devotees. You have other comments, questions? Now, again, please don't think that I'm putting Srila Prabhupada down. By no means am I doing that. The fact is the fact, the way Srila Prabhupada described it. He went around the world and spread the holy name of the Lord. I'm only saying it's just the Lord's will that he did it like that. That's all. That's also true. Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Usually you have something to say, Prabhu.
Me?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I do put down, sometimes, practically every time I do put down some points. Maybe I'll bring some points up. We can have a discussion about it. And, before I say what I'd noted, just like to tell devotees, it's the more devotees join in the discussion, the more interesting it gets. And every time we've had at least, 4 people, myself speaking, Vishnudev speaking, Dear Krishna speaking, and Srila Mataji speaking, and there's 4 of us talking. Nobody should feel intimidated. They always been Krishna consciousness longer, or they are more confident in what they say, therefore I can't say anything. Well, what you hear, you can repeat. And if you have a question, you can also bring it up. I'll make one comment about what Chandamali Swami said. And it was an important point that he was making. Actually, he was praising his devotees, his disciples, in one sense, the Zoom class, although that he was training, sometimes some of services that he had to do were coming one after another. Many devotees wanted him to handle different programs that they had planned, and he had to try to fit them all in one day. But he still said he'll make time to come on Zoom and preach to his disciples. Not that he preached to his disciples, but to come to that particular program for his disciples. Mostly his disciples were on that program. And the reason he gave is because you guys ask questions. He was praising them because they asked questions. And I've known for the longest time that when my Guru Maharaj was in Giranagri and preaching, by the time he preached, I get a general sense of what he's talking about, but only when it comes to questions that I begin to hear him really explain things deeply. So don't ever think that questions are for others to ask. Actually, things get explained more the more questions that are asked. The entire Bhagavad Gita is like that. Arjuna asks questions. The entire Bhagavatam is like that. Maharaj Parikshit asks questions, and it was explained more. So we're not pushing you, but just have it in the back of your mind that you'll learn more about Krishna the more questions you ask. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right. So here are a few things that I've put down as takeaways. Srila Prabhupada is citing that everyone has interest. All kinds of living entities have interest, human body type and non-human body type, and they all have interest. But the real interest is in serving God. He quoted Nati Vitu Swārudatim Hi Vishnu, which is in Srimad Bhagavatam. It says the interest for human beings is religion. All living entities, they eat, sleep, they mate, and they defend. But what is the distinction when it comes to humans? If humans do the same thing as eat, sleep, mate, and defend, then it's like animal society. He did talk about different ages. Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. And Kali Yuga is the most fallen age. 25% religion at the beginning. And it's decreasing. And he talked about the 12th canto describing what Kali Yuga is going to be. The appearance of Lord Buddha, Kalki, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are all described there. The religious principles that Vijayanath reminded us about, that Srila Prabhupada talked about, religious principles, the important points, truthfulness, cleanliness, forgiveness, mercy, long duration of life, bodily strength, and memory, all of these gradually will be reduced almost to nil. And of course, in the different ages from Satya Yuga, lifespan is 100,000 years. Treta Yuga, lifespan is 10,000 years. Dwapara Yuga, lifespan is 1,000 years. And in Kali Yuga, we only go up to 100 years, and not even people can't get to. He did, in fact, make one point that I didn't put down, but I still remember, that he said in India, the lifespan is 35 years. I was kind of shocked to hear that. That's many people are being born, then a lot of people are dying too if the lifespan is that. And he said, well, in your country, meaning the U.S., lifespan is, the life expectancy is about 70 years now. So Kali Yuga memory is going to be reduced. And then he talked about what's really happening. Churches are being sold because people are not taking religion seriously, not taking spirituality seriously. They're not attending the religious programs. And so ISKCON is buying temples, and Harrisburg is no different. The building we're in now was a temple. Four Seasons Gospel Church. Still remember, they get how I know is that I pick up the mail, and sometimes they are written to the pastor's name is written, and then the address is there. Four Seasons Gospel. So Four Seasons Gospel now got sold to ISKCON, eventually the ISKCON. There is no forgiveness. Another point, just vengeance. People are very vengeful. Arjuna was treated badly by his relatives, the Kauravas, but he still wanted Krishna to let him go. So he had the sense of forgiveness in him. Kali Yuga, he talked about money determining the status. Irreligious persons, you just bribe people to get favors. That's one of the things that turned me off about the country that I was born in, Ghana. It's just so much bribery goes on. Bribery, more bribery. Anyway, I won't bore you with that. It's very difficult to live in I hated it. I just hated it. That's one of the reasons why I don't miss that country, even though I was born there. There's so many more to goodness things are there too, but this bribery thing is just, too much. Everything is based on how people feel about things. Even when it comes to marriage, Srila Prabhupada says marriage was formally determined by family members, the adults in the family, and also astrology was taken into consideration, whether the couple can be compatible. Now it's by just attraction of the body. I like you and you also like me, therefore we marry. Liking, Srila Prabhupada said, next moment there will be dislike. So liking has no value. And even brahmanas, another thing, people call themselves brahmanas, they take initiation and they get a brahman's head, and then they act like a chandala, a dog eater. So Brahminical culture is slowly being degraded. This is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to change by establishing ISKCON. So we have to try to keep Brahminical culture going. Even he says in marriage, when the spouse has difficulty sexually, then the other one wants to divorce. And then no justice in the courts. You have to win your case by being rich sometimes. And other people speak gibberish, which he tried to. I don't think people realize that he was speaking gibberish until the end. Says that's how it doesn't make any sense. But people admire folks who speak gibberish. They say, well, the statements are inexplicable. So one of the things that surprised me, maybe devotees can comment on that. Srila Prabhupada mentioned if you're poor, you're regarded as dishonest. Because the person who is poor doesn't know how to make money by hook or crook. There are people who actually think that way. But it's interesting how degraded society has become. Poor people are considered as honest, when in fact honesty has nothing to do with the level of poverty or level of wealth. Marriage will take place by agreement with no family involvement in it. We talked about people keeping long hair, and in particular men keeping long hair, and men keeping long hair thinking that's fashionable. Srila Prabhupada did not mention men in particular, but actually men are supposed to keep short hair. But some keep long hair. And then people travel to the Ganges at Hardwar, even though it may be close to where they live, but they go to Hardwar because they think it's a place of pilgrimage. And Srila Prabhupada says, in reality, where a saintly person is, that is Tirtha, that's the place of pilgrimage. Dhanesu Abhigeshu Saiva Gokara. When you go to a sacred place, you need to talk to those who are residents there to hear the spiritual connection of the place, not just go to bathe in that river and dump all the negativity in the sacred river. Maintaining wife and children will be difficult. So success is going to be measured in Kali Yuga by how well the family can be maintained. And then the politics, those who can croak loudly in campaigns, they get elected to political posts. And then they increase the taxes and they share the money among themselves. And as you can see, taxes keep going up and up and up and up and up. So the faults in Kali Yuga are like an ocean that even an expert swimmer cannot save himself. But if you chant Hare Krishna, then that is the way out. He talked about the Pandavas being very honest and saintly. That's the way we should live. Speaking about that, His Holiness Gogovinda Maharaj is also mentioned in his own way that yes, we are in Kali Yuga now, but devotees are supposed to live based on the tenets, based on the do's and don'ts of Satya Yuga. That's the way devotees are supposed to live. So then he talked about us being indebted to the demigods. We're indebted to, you give an example of Indra, who supplies rain. But rascals think that nature is supplying the needs automatically. That is not true. Demigods are the ones that have been given different responsibilities for different parts of nature. But we are really indebted to God because He gave the demigods those rights and those powers to handle different affairs in the material energy. So we are indebted to God ultimately. He gave an example again, if you don't pay taxes, then your supply, whatever thing that you need for your life, it will be stopped. So we have to be obedient to the laws of God. You don't become a sadhu just by changing dress. He mentioned that also. And that ultimate happiness is obtained by purifying the material infection. Then the senses become pure. You're full of anxieties. This is Kali Yuga. But if you're in a strong, very big ship, then you're saved from drowning. Similarly, if we accept the shelter of God, rather than all different kinds of shelter, then we're going to be protected. And this is the way we do. Of course, Lord Chaitanya has made it very, very simple for us. Chant the holy name of the Lord. Chant the holy name of the Lord. And genuinely do service. Don't do service whimsically. Genuinely do loving devotion service. And that's how we get purified. The senses get purified when they serve the Lord. So those are some of the things that I put down. Hare Krishna. Any final comments or questions? If not, then we're past the hour now. Thank you all for coming in. We'll continue tomorrow. Have a nice and wonderful day and try to stay warm in this part of the world. It's cold now. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Oh, one question before I go. There is a question. I apologize. There was one on the chat, and I think it's only appropriate that we read that before we go. Hare Krishna. Just trying to scroll to that point. just when I needed to is when, can someone read the on there, because my computer is not cooperating with me. Can someone unmute and read the question?
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Please
Krishna.
accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. What should my checklist to find out if I am serious and devotional sadhu?
What should my checklist? Say that again.
Yes. What should my checklist, I'm assuming there should be a B there. What should my checklist be to find out if I am serious and devotional sadhu?
The simple way to look at being good at devotional service is how consistently I'm actually staying with the main point in Kali Yuga, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is actually every service that we do, in the 9 ways in which we do loving devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, offering obeisances, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, same thing, praying, and even being the Lord's friend or servant, and offering ātmanaḥ, offering oneself fully. Those are all there. Any one of the services that we do in Kali Yuga has to also involve chanting. It's been said in the Shastra that any one of these that I've listed, that we talked about, done perfectly, can take a person back to Godhead. Hearing perfectly, but what things do we do perfectly? So for us, whatever service we do, chanting should be part of it. So if we're not chanting, then basically we can't even call ourselves devotees. So chanting is the main thing. So that's number 1 on the checklist. Without hearing, you're not going to be able to know what's what. We can't make assumptions in bhakti. Bhakti comes from being schooled. That's why there's sadhana bhakti. So hearing and chanting are topmost on the list. Now, the more we hear and the more we chant with attention, then our hearts would open. And then when our hearts are open more, then we begin to serve from our hearts because we want to serve. Not like we've been told to serve. We have to get to the point where we develop the habit of serving, and then we do it from our hearts because that's what we want to do. We're convinced that we are in the right place, and we are actually getting so much help from the Lord and the Lord's devotees. So the priority would be the first 2, hearing and chanting. Now, there's also another point when we talk about the positive things to do. Hearing and chanting are positive things to do. What's the negative things that we should avoid? There's the regulative principles that's there. But one of the biggest things we should avoid is avoid making offenses, because offenses just ruin everything about our devotee life. It ruins everything. Remember, we're chanting in order to develop love of Godhead. This is the way Lord Chaitanya planned it, so that we can go back to Godhead. Those who fall in love with the Lord will be allowed back to Godhead. Chanting and chanting seriously, attentively, distinctly helps us to develop that love. But if we don't treat devotees nicely and we do things to offend them or do things to make them uncomfortable, use very jabbing words, then everything we worked for, all the austerities, getting up early in the morning and chanting, it will go for naught. It's very simple. The reason is very simple. We're going back to Godhead. That's the aim. And so if we begin to offend devotees, that's like saying you're going to go back to Godhead and offend those who are there also. So that's not going to happen. In fact, not only is it not going to happen, we're not going to be allowed to go back there at all. We won't even get opportunity to get started with anything negative in the spiritual world. That's why the main things are, 1, hear, because that's where your guidance is. Chant, because that's how you develop love of Godhead. This Kali Yuga. This is the mercy of the Lord. Serve based on this other the details, the offering of obeisances, and I actually missed one, which is serving the deity in Acha, Vigraha, on the others, up to ātmanaḥ. Do all of those, and then get away from offenses. Get away from offenses. And that should be okay then. Hopefully that was helpful to the person that asked the question. I think there's another one too. I think I'm still not able to get out of this thing. Okay, here we go. Is there another one? I'm still struggling with my chat. Okay. All right. Oh, Shane himself has a point that he listed here. I think you're the one that read it. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glory to the Prabhupada. Thank you for presenting us this wonderful class. Some points I took away. One, everything has a divine order behind it. That is very true. Two, relationships are based on likes and eventually becomes dislikes. Yeah. And the question that we dealt with by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga is the question I was asked by dear Krishna Das. Now my computer is cooperating, so I can see the chat points. Thank you both for putting these points on the chat. Any final questions or takeaways? If not, then thank you all for coming. And now we will actually end it, unless somebody else wants to say something. Vanchakapatarubyascha kripasindhave evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you again. Hare Krishna.